start off and open up Photoshop that you downloaded last class. Okay, so go ahead and open it up, and what you'll see is some things that talks about what's new, and a couple different topics over here. And what I want you to do is when you open up Photoshop, this pops open. For now, just go ahead and click the X here. And I should close it out. And it's going to open up. Okay. Open up Photoshop. Let's cut out the giggling. Okay, so when you open up Photoshop, a couple things are going to happen. One, these are called, your most recent files and things that you've worked on. I've got some different projects that I did, so that's what pops up there. You guys probably will not have that. What I want you to do is go to where it says New File. And when you open up New File, this is going to open up. Now, with this, these are different files that I've created with different sizes, etc. The first thing that you're going to do is, if you look over here, so you'll go up to New File, and what you're going to do is make sure you change where it says pixels here, because that is a unit of measurement. Pixels. Who can give me a definition of what pixels is?
Oh, I know. It's like that one movie, like before they put in the movie and then the light jumps on.
That's Pixar. Pixels. Okay, listen up. Pixels stands for basically picture element, and I'll show you what a pixel is here more in detail here in a second. But that is a unit of measurement. So we're going to change it from pixel to inches. Okay. If you're having issues with opening up, I'll come around after I do the demonstration and then see what you've got going on. I need you to hang tight. So you're going to change it to inches. Now, with the width for today, just for demonstration purposes, what I'm going to do is put 10 by 10 and resolution. Okay. This means how many pixels are there per square inch. The higher the pixel number, it means the higher the resolution, the bigger or the higher the quality it's going to be. So for this, I'm going to just put it at, let's say, it's default 72. I'm just going to bump it up to 300. Now you leave everything as is, RGB color and white, etc. And we'll talk more about that later. But then you'll go ahead and hit create. Now, when you hit create, it's going to open up a blank document. Now, there are some things that you need to make sure that you change each time, or make sure each time that you've, or make sure nothing has changed when you open it up. The first is go down to view, and where it says rulers, make sure that is checked. What that's going to do is put here, up top, and down the line, a ruler, and it's going to help you when we get into actual projects with the actual size. Now, a lot of folks, it defaults to pixels, so when you double click the ruler, okay, this will pop up. Change the units where it says rulers to inches, okay? There are other ways of measuring things, different units like pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, points, picas, excuse me. But we want to keep it in inches. Now, you can also then, where it says type, have that in points. We'll get more into that later. So click OK. Now that should change your ruler to inches up here. The next thing I want you to do And and when you open up a document, to make sure that things are set up as needed, is to have it so that you can see your so you can see everything for what we're doing. Go down to Window and Workspace, and always make sure photography is checked. Okay, that will help you with everything that we need to do, and it'll give you a really good workspace. And that way, everyone's working off the same workspace. So when it comes time for me to show you demonstrations and whatnot, we're all on the same page here. If for some reason you ever open up Photoshop and it looks weird, you can go and you have photography set. You can click Reset Photography, and it will reset your workspace. You'll go to Window, Workspace Photography. After I go through the demonstration and give you what I call playground time, I'll come around and help you guys if you have questions. Again, this will be posted up online for you to watch. So what we're going to do next, okay, is we're going to look at our workspace and how things are laid out. You've got different things up here, okay. This over here, and again, you everyone to focus in. This is your tools palette. Now, Photoshop and Adobe, what they have done is they've created a tools palette where if you hover over something, okay, and I'm going to shrink this just so I can get it over a little bit. If you hover over something, what it's going to do is tell you the name of the tool, and you can watch a quick video on it. You can also click here, and it'll give you helpful hints on how to use things. Okay, and so that is something that is very beneficial to Photoshop and to how you can learn things. Okay, so I wanted to point that out. So when you get your, this is the tool palette over here, and we'll go over some of these tools and tell you how to use them and get into some of these things today, but that's one part. Now over here on the right side, you have a layers palette. Now we're going to show and talk a little bit about layers as we go on into the demonstration today, so that you can learn and understand a key concept in Photoshop that will be helpful to you as we start to edit different things. Now, what I'm going to do first is I am going to come into where it says brush tool. Okay, again, and I've got this maximized. It's popping up on my other screen, but hovering over brush tool. Oh, one other thing, if you see a triangle, that means if you click and hold, there are other tools underneath that that tool palette that is closely resembles to that particular tool. So I'm going to go ahead back into the brush tool that I have down here, and then what I'm going to do is come up, and I'm actually going to change my toolbar like this, so I have it two columns, because that's a little bit easier for me to see everything, and that's something that you can change if you want. But in my brush, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to change the color of the brush from white to black, and I'm going to click OK. Now, when I did that, I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line. Now, the next thing I want to point out is over here with the layers. This is where it says background. Okay, imagine that being a white sheet of paper that I just drew a solid black line on. I'm going to actually come down, and I could do it either down here where it says create new layer, plus I can come up to where it says layer, and I can go new layer, but that's what I'm going to do, or shift control N, and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call that, just keep that layer 1, and I'm going to click OK. So now I've created another layer over here. This time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I'm going to change my color from black to, let's say, red. And I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to come up to this area, and this is something as we get into our quick selection tools and different things like that, being able to operate and work with our brush sizes comes into play. So I'm going to click here. My brush size currently is at 50 pixels. And if you notice the hardness, that's how hard of a line you have. It's set at 0%. For this next one, I'm going to go up to, let's go up to 94, 100, whatever. You're going to have, you can set it, just make it a little bit bigger than the previous number you had. And I'm going to bump the hardness up to 100. And then I'm going to come over here and click. Now for this one, I'm going to just go down here and I'm going to draw up. And I'm going to do like U and make an A. Now we talked about, I just mentioned about hardness. If you zoom in, okay, to these lines, this hardness, and I know it might be hard to see on the Pro Board, but when I put it on YouTube, you can see, or you can zoom in with your own one. To zoom in, you can do either Control Plus, or, and this is why using the mouse and keyboard is handy. If I hold down the Alt button on my keyboard and I use the roller wheel, that can zoom in and out. That just makes it more efficient. And what I want you to do is notice that the hardness for the black line, which was at 0%, it fades out gradually. The red line that had a hardness of 100%, it's much more distinctive. It goes from red to the white instantly. So I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to add a new layer. Okay, this time I went down here and clicked to create a new layer, and I have layer 2. It automatically put it up for me. For layer 2, what I'm going to do is come in, I'm going to change my color, and I'm going to take here, let's go with blue. There we go. I'm going to click OK. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up, I'm going to go here, over the black, and the red. Okay, so I have now, if you observe, and layer 2 is the blue, layer 1 is the red, and my background is the black line. Now, when you work within Photoshop, the key thing is to make sure that you know what layer you're working in, because you may be trying to do some editing on one layer and you're actually working on something else and it's not going to be as productive for you. So I've got layer 2 highlighted here. What I'm going to do today or next is I'm going to talk about the difference with layers. If you notice, layer 2 is on top of layer 1, meaning blue is on top of red, and it's also on top of the black because of the ordering I have here. If I take and click layer 2 and I drag it underneath layer 1, look especially right here what happens to the ordering. Okay, I'm clicking, I'm dragging underneath. It's changing the ordering there. Now, you may be like, oh, okay, that's simple, but you would be surprised at how many times I've had students that have not had their layers in a proper sequence and order. So that's something for you to learn about and to make sure you understand. Because that is a fundamental concept of Photoshop. Okay, fundamental concern of Photoshop. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come in. I'm going to do another layer. Just go this way. Create another layer, layer 3. And for this one, Let's do something like green. Okay. Click OK. And let's say I do something like this. And then all of a sudden I'm like, shoot, I want to have the green, but I did a little too much. I can come over to my eraser tool and I can erase. Now notice this too. Okay. Notice when I have my eraser tool, I'm working in layer 3. So when I come here, I can erase the green, but not the blue or red because I'm not working in that layer. When one big mistake that students will make it when they're editing is not being on the correct layer, and it impacts them being able to make the edits to their pictures. Okay, so that is the the concept of layers. Now, let's say I have something down and I want to move it. Okay, I can come over here to the move tool, and what it did is it highlighted layer 3 because that's the layer that I've highlighted there, and I'm just gonna take my layer 3, and I'm just going to slide and I can move it around. Okay. Now also with this I can make things a little bit. I can make it smaller or bigger. This is also called transformation. And for your first Photoshop project, you'll be using a lot of transformations, which I'll be talking about next week. Okay, talking about next week. So I'm going to hit enter, and then it locks that in, and further move tool. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to save. Okay, how to save. And then I'm going to cut you loose for today's class activity. Going up to File, you'll go to Save As. When your dialog box comes up, okay, I want to point out a couple things. When you look at a file that has a .psd, okay, a .psd, that stands for a Photoshop document. When you save your projects that you're working on, and I highly recommend saving about every 5 to 10 minutes, because if you do make an edit or something and you don't save and something crashes, that's not good. But you'll save it as a PSD as you're working on things. Now, let's say I need you to turn it in as a picture file. Okay, I'm going to go in and click cancel. I'm going to come back up to where it says layer. Okay, and this is another key concept. I'm going to do what's called flatten the image. Okay, flatten the image. When I do this, watch over here on the layers palette. When I click flatten image, okay, what it will do is it's going to take all my layers and put it into one. So I'm going to click flatten image. All my layers went into one. Now I am able to go into File, Save As, and I have the option to save it as a picture file, which would be as a JPEG file, not JPEG 2000 or JPEG Studio or JPEG XL, just the one that says JPEG here. Okay, there are other file types. We'll talk a little bit more about those later, but just the JPEG. And then you can hit save and save it that way. Okay, I'm going to click cancel because there's one last thing I want to show you. If you go up to Window, okay, go down to History. This is also something very handy to have. I'm going to click History, and I'm going to pull this up. And what this does is it shows me every step that we did. Okay, and if I want to go back a couple of steps, I can click here and click back through. Now, if I click back through and I make another edit, like I'm going to come in and I'm going to, let's just put like purple here. Watch what happens when I go back into my brush, okay, and I put down a purple line. it is going to completely remove all these steps, and it's a brand new. So I'm just going to go here and watch what happens. Boom, took that away. So the history is important. It can help you identify a mistake. Okay. So this wraps up our first Photoshop tutorial. What you're going to do for the remainder of class, okay, is do what I call playground time. I want you to use some of the tools that I showed you, and for you, you're going to have a simple classwork grade of drawing some sort of unique, colorful picture, and you're going to put it in Schoology on the discussion board that I'm getting ready to post, so you can everyone can kind of see what artistic creation you made. That will be due by the end of class. Okay, the more the time that you get used to Photoshop early on, the better off you'll be as we move through the semester. Does anybody have any questions on that?